Hey guys, it's Josh, and welcome back to the Not So Bad Bachelor Pad, your favorite podcast for learning how to balance between being a functional adult and a raging dumpster fire. And let's be honest, some days we're all a bit of a dumpster fire. Joining us inside the Bachelor Pad this week is somebody who will hopefully help us debunk some of these myths around what a girl wants, what a girl needs, whatever makes her happy. That's always fine by me. But I think Courtney is going to help us bachelors shed some light and maybe give the bachelorettes who are tuning in just the courage or the right angle to start saying, hey, here's what I'm missing and here's what I want. So put your hands together. Warm welcome for Courtney. Thank you so much for making time for us today. How are you?
Josh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful to be here. I'm great. I live in Phoenix, Arizona.
You have a pretty stacked resume. You have your master's in social work, you're a life coach, you've had a few notable speaking engagements with the TEDx. You've just had the opportunity to be in a lot of amazing places, but you still have stayed genuine, authentic to your cause throughout the whole thing, which is massive. A lot of people I feel like change their narrative or their focal point as they grow, and you still put women first, which is what I think we all should be doing in our relationships with ourselves and with our partners.
Love that. Ah, thank you. I love that.
This is an age old question or misconception more than a question that men want or more sexual beings than women, and women don't really want that. It's all about emotional connection. But I feel like you have a very unique kind of pivot on that. And
Mhm.
so I want to know, what do you think as a woman, as somebody who's been kind of looking yourself in the mirror, connected to your emotional self? Do you want less sex than men? Or are you just as energetic and enthused as any other person would be?
Yes, such a good question. Yes, I mean, I say that women want more sex than men. And it's a common misconception because just like what you said, there's essentially a stereotype that men are way into sex. Women don't really want it. They just want love and heart connection. But I mean, I'm an intimacy expert and coach, and women tell me all the time that they wish they were making love more often. And we'll talk about the mismatch. Why don't many men know that? And of course, it's not all women, but there was a study that was done that found 47% of women, almost half, want more sex than they're having. That's
That's wild. Yeah.
mind blowing, isn't it?
Yeah. Like almost half.
Huh?
That's a lot of people. And the fact that it's so common that we all are under this illusion, like we talked about before we started recording, is we've all been fed this fairy tale rom-com narrative of the hormonal guy and the jock who just wants one thing. Boys only want one thing. Men just care about one thing. And so we've just been kind of fostering that narrative.
Yeah.
But if you actually stop and ask the person who you're sitting next to or across from, is it true? I feel like we never do that. I never asked my girlfriends, any of my girlfriends, "Are we doing it enough? Could we be doing it more?" It's never been a thought that's crossed my mind,
Yeah.
but it's a great jump
Absolutely.
off point. Yeah.
Well, right, and then the socialization is around, "Oh, a man should take the lead." So it's kind of like, if a man leads, then why would he be asking her, "Is this enough? Would you like anything different?" But yeah, there's a lot to it because there's the frequency, and then there's also the fulfillment, the quality, and women, essentially, they want it all. They certainly want the sex, and they want cuddling and, of course, kissing and, yes, romance, but also it just if you look at it, it's almost like they just want all of it. They want emotional connection, hot, passionate sex. They want to feel their partner's arms around them, and also a huge part of it is that women thrive when they can surrender and relax, and we have this hustle culture in our work world, right? Well, not just work, but it's right all the time. It's like, hurry and do this, check off everything on your to do list. We are just like hustling, hustling. That has affected our bedrooms where we have quickie culture. It's almost like, okay, let's just rush through the sex. Let's just hurry and get it in. And women's bodies do not thrive with quickies only. I mean, quickies are great. They're wonderful and they're super fun. It's just that typically women's nervous systems need to relax in order for their bodies to open. And it's just a different process, right? And of course, there's exceptions to this completely. So I'm going to make a generalization and someone could say, "Wait a minute, that's not me." But in general, men can be ready for sex pretty quickly. Maybe I just gonna joke like men can be ready in 30 seconds, but a woman might need 30 minutes of foreplay before she's fully ready. But the average sexual experience is only 5 to 10 minutes long total. But if the woman needs 30 minutes of foreplay before she's actually even ready for intercourse, fully ready, then there's a big mismatch. So that's a huge thing that I see is women they want, first of all, more time for sex, like longer, more luxurious lovemaking sessions. And not just the time, it's more like the relaxation. Because
Yeah.
even, let's just say you schedule an hour for sex and you're like, okay, plenty of time. But if the woman feels the pressure of, okay, at the top of the hour, I got to run to the grocery store and I got to go get the kids and, all the checklists, she might not be able to fully drop in and relax. So there,
No, that makes perfect sense, and I know we've talked about this before, is sometimes you do have to schedule intimacy with your partner because life gets busy.
totally.
Unfortunately, we don't have unlimited hours in a day, and you do
Yeah.
have kids, you have jobs, you have all these other things that you're juggling, and so you're like, "Okay, our schedules just aren't working. We need to schedule a time to make this happen." But overall, that doesn't mean that we need to lose the spontaneity of it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then to your point, I wasn't gonna talk about this, but we're gonna talk about it now. It's kind of been like a little theme that, like, I keep coming back to the last few weeks, but it's such a big point that I'm tired of avoiding it. And
Mm,
that's like you brought up that we're in this hustle culture, this quickie culture, especially when it comes to sex, to our intimate lives. And I feel like part of that is going back to the stereotype that men are groomed under, that you have to be machismo, your one job, your sole job is to make sure your partner finishes, has the big O, to
mm,
climax, when realistically and, like, that's what makes you a man. But realistically, in my camp, and what I kinda work with my people on is redefining what it means to be masculine or, the man. Because I don't feel like you said, women take a little while to drop into their bodies so they can relax and have enjoyable experiences. So if you hear the whistle blow and you start just going, jackhammering, seeing how many different positions you can do in under 30 seconds. I mean, sure, they'll be there for it, but they won't be there for it, if that makes sense. You
yes,
know? And then you're like, well, did you finish? Was it good for you is the worst question that anybody could ask, and we'll talk about that later. But, and, there are just so many different stigmas and associations that go with that, but it just kinda snowballs. But
mhm,
realistically, it's not new news. Like I said, if we take the time, do the foreplay. There's nothing corny about foreplay. There's nothing
yeah,
hyper feminine about foreplay. It's just really about connection. Like, if connecting to your partner, I don't understand, like, how that is ever problematic for people, you know?
yeah, yeah, absolutely, that's so true, I love how you said that, it is all about connection, yeah, I feel like that takes so much unpacking because even when I say sex, the association so many people have with just that word is intercourse, and those are 2 totally different words, intercourse. But then and I really learned this through being with a woman. I was in a relationship with a woman for 5 years, and at first, I had to really open my mind because, of course, intercourse wasn't available to us, but it showed me there's these different realms to sex. It's physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, and we were playing so much with the energy, with the passion, because that was the primary thing we had available, and then I found, oh my gosh, that's so nourishing. It was so hot and exciting. And so for me, it almost taught me to slow down and then also, yeah, kind of unlink, that's a good word, unlink the sex from the intercourse. But yeah, I love how you said that. It's like in or foreplay in and of itself can be a full, complete sexual experience. Yeah, and I think the nice thing too, especially for men, is takes a lot of pressure off if we think about it as pleasure, not just the intercourse or the, "Oh, you have to perform and stay hard for a certain amount of time," and it's just like, no, what if it's just about connecting and just being together and seeing what wants to unfold. I think that's another huge part is I feel like there's magic in a sexual experience that wants to unfold. And when you're just present with each other and being there, enjoying each other, it's almost like the magic gets to come alive.
I understand what you're talking about right there because I was in a session maybe a few weeks ago. I'm not gonna try to act like I remember the day, but the guy I was working with, I love when my clients teach me something or they give me, like, an analogy that I was like, "This is good, like, I might have to steal that from you." Well, b like, borrow, like, with credit.
I know
Yeah,
that feeling.
because we were talking about, like, foreplay and connection, and I was using the term, like, gourmet sex. Instead of quickies, it's like TV dinners, it's just quick, it'll knock the hunger off, but you're not really nourished, you're not fulfilled afterwards. We were talking about foreplay, and he was like, "I don't know, I just don't feel it sometimes." And he was like, "It's" I was like, "Well, it's supposed to be this experience. It's a beautiful moment or series of moments where you're connecting with your partner, you're coming together physically and emotionally." And he was like, "No, people go to the movies to see the movie." And I was like, I never thought about sex or
Yeah.
just intimacy, the lover space as a movie theater. And I was like, okay, let's roll with that. Because from there, I went, but do you know how sometimes you're in a rush and you miss the previews and you're just like trying to hurry, find a seat, and you get there like a little after the movie starts and you're just like, oh, what did I miss? You're just in a rush. I didn't get my snacks. You're just like super anxious. He was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I was like, that's the culture that we're in right now. Everybody's showing up right at the start or a little after the movie starts and they're just flustered. And then they're just so hyper focused on everything that's happening, all the action, the script, the dialogue, and then at the end, they're like, "Is there gonna be a post-credit scene?" But they're not really enjoying the experience, they're just taking in a bunch of different sensory stimuli,
Mm.
and I was like, "But have you ever gotten there before the movie starts? You get your ticket, you get your popcorn, your candy, whatever you do, you find a seat that you wanna sit in, and then you watch the previews?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah." I was like, don't you feel like when you do that, you kinda enjoy the movie, the experience more because you're relaxed? Now that you mention it,
Wow.
he was like "Yeah, like, I'm not rushed, I'm actually, like, relaxed. By the time the movie starts, I'm in the right zone," and I was like, "Exactly." So the previews are foreplay, okay? If you skip the foreplay and you just try to hop right into the featured film, you're already behind so much, and you're just trying to play, like, catch up. Your body might be there, but your mind's not yet. And then I think that's also why it's so easy for our culture to disassociate or desensitize to the physical body now, to not appreciate it is because we're skipping all these steps, and we're just worried about the end goal,
Oh my
you know?
god. Yeah, that is brilliant. This movie metaphor and how you went deep into that. It's just that is so brilliant, and I love how that landed on him too. And it's so true too what you were saying about the body because I mean, I found this really fascinating is in order to actually feel sexually aroused, we have to be in our parasympathetic nervous system, which is the relaxed part of our nervous system, the rest and digest. But most of the day, we're in sympathetic fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, or just, go, go, go mode. And that's why I usually recommend for couples, if they're having a hard time feeling turned on, then just take 20 minutes before attempting to make love and just cuddle with each other, even clothes on. Just cuddle in bed or on the couch and just relax. Take a little nap if you can. It's not long enough to get into a deep sleep, but a little rest. And that is all you need to kind of let go of the day and then get into that relaxation mode. And then your own natural turn on can just come alive. And a lot of women really thrive from that, but it's hard to task switch, right? It's just like, okay, we're going all day, and especially for us women, then, oh, we're suddenly supposed to, like, open and relax and surrender and be in our feminine energy. It's hard to shift without some kind of physical transition like that to help us drop in our body.
Sure, that's one of the benefits of being an XY chromosome a guy is
Mhm.
it's not always the case, but we can be wham bam, thank you, ma'am. So we're ready to go. But kind of playing off of what you were saying there, I love how you made this not about mismatched libidos because that is a thing, but that's not always the case. Sometimes it is like this erotic emotional abandonment that is kind of occurring
Yeah.
where you're taking the intimacy out of being intimate, which kind of the whole point to the name. I digress, right? I scratch my head too sometimes, but that's something that we have to work on. Like I said, going back is enjoying the previews because it lets you know what's coming up, gives you something to look forward to, and
Yeah.
also that's it's one of my favorite parts. Like, don't get me wrong, the female body, a work of art. They are cooked up magnificently. I have no notes, no notes, but I like to appreciate that. I talk to my friends all the time, and it's so funny how as you get older, your starting line kinda just moves farther and farther forward. And what I mean by that is when you're a little kid, holding a hand or a cheeky little, kiss on the cheek was a big deal. You're like, "Dude, did you
Yes.
see that?" Like, on the cheek or, like, they're holding hands. And then you kinda get to that middle school to high school era where it's a makeout. Like,
Yeah.
be honest. If you everybody listening and watching right now, when was the last time you made out with somebody? Like, you don't have to tell me, but if it's been longer, like a true makeout session, like sex wasn't the end goal, it lasted longer than 5 minutes. If it's been more than 2 months or 3 or 4 dates, I need you to leave a like because that's gonna let me know y'all are skipping steps. You're skipping.
What a great question.
Right, but I just
I
recently
have to raise my hand, unfortunately. I feel like I've done makeouts maybe in, like, 1 or 2 minutes, but I gotta do over 5 minutes. Sorry to
it's It's so nostalgic, and it really just helps me sink into my body because I don't have to think about the whole unit. I'm just thinking about my lips, her lips, just holding that person. Like, that's my cuddle, like you said, like the cuddle on the couch with the clothes on, because you usually are it's not like you're just like, stretching your necks out to each other. I was like, "No, you really are you're physically getting closer."
yeah.
Your heartbeats are kinda on top of each other, so you start to sink into each other. So, to me, that's the real cheat code is lock in, make out, okay? It's almost summertime. That's what we're doing this summer. We're making out with people, okay? Like, you're in college again, drunk, like, tongue down the throat, you're taking them home, like, we're making out this summer.
I love it. The summer of the sexual fire of the makeouts.
Dude, yes. That also tells me a lot. A couple kisses here and there, anybody could be good at that, but if you are great at making out, that means that I know we're gonna have chemistry. You're probably attentive because you have to make adjustments. I know that you're passionate because you're not like, "Okay, I'm over this, like, let's do something that" you're present. So, the makeout teaches you a lot if you're really peeping it, y'all, so just
Mhm.
little tip for you. But, like, yeah, are there things that you do whenever you're with a partner to be like, "You know what? I know this is gonna be a good play session because they're doing X, Y, and Z."
Yeah. One of the things that works really well with my partner is just focusing on giving to him. And he tends to feel like a lot of pressure around, essentially. If we're both just giving to each other, kind of like in the flow of giving and receiving, I feel the pressure. He's talked about it. But if I just only focus on giving to him and just he relaxes and lays down, and it helps him to sink into his body. So it's really fascinating too how we're all so different, right? That's what I find so fascinating, and I call it our treasure map. We each have our own unique treasure map. And it's just like for each of us, what's going to help us drop into our body? What's going to help us feel turned on? Or I was even thinking with that gentleman you mentioned with the movie metaphor so brilliantly. It's like, I wonder if there's certain previews, certain kinds of foreplay that would light him up more. Maybe he's bored with the foreplay, you know? Maybe it needs to be a little more exciting.
No, that's a very valid question that I didn't even think to take it a step further on because it's so hard. Like, A, explaining foreplay to people sometimes can be cumbersome and exhausting because they need like this definite picture. But I was like, foreplay can literally be anything you choose. I was like, whatever your tool set is, your superpower is, make that a foreplay. It doesn't have to be right then. It could be all day, whether it's starting with dirty, cheeky text all day,
Yeah.
whether it's your body language, the eye contact, the light touching,
Hmm.
a well placed hand. All of these things can like count as foreplay to me, and they help set the mood. Not everybody may be silver tongued, so don't try to overthink it and then do some forced cliche like cheesy, dirty talk because you
Yeah.
won't feel comfortable in your skin. It might not land and it kind of not grosses them out, but you can just tell when something's forced and
Yeah.
vice
Yeah.
versa if you don't know what to do with your hands because sometimes I'm in that boat. I have no idea what to do with my hands. I was like, do I put them down to my side? Do I just leave them up like I'm on a roller coaster? Like, I don't know what to do. So I was like, in those instances, don't use body language or, like, physical cues. Just find out whatever works for you and
Yeah.
just use that to connect. I know you're gonna hear us say this word 1,000 times today, but connect. That's really all it is how am I connecting with my person besides with my genitalia?
Totally. It's so true. And then something that was just coming to me is for a lot of women that I work with, I'll tell them to dance, to try dancing to get in their body. That's another great way. And it could be just turning on a song and literally just swaying their hips side to side, or just turning on a song that makes them feel sexy and just dancing however they feel like it. And the cool thing is, too, you can dance for your partner if you'd like. And usually the partner loves that. Or just do it by yourself in your own room just for you to get more present in your body. But it's just like you were saying too about we're so disconnected from our bodies in general as we move about the world. So just connecting with our body first before we even attempt to connect with our partner just makes the experience so much better.
That's so true, and this isn't TMI, like, anybody who's listened to the show who knows what we do here, I keep everything open, I keep it, real with you. Right now, you're seeing this episode in June, but we recorded it in May. So, Courtney, every May, we do Masturbation May,
Yes.
because that's a really big thing that I have noticed with myself a few years ago and a lot of the people I work with is we don't know our own bodies. We're not really comfortable in our skin, and then when it comes time to perform we have the stage fright and you're like, why? Well, it's because you haven't been practicing your lines. No good actor is in a TV show, in a play, in a feature film, and they just show up the day and read their lines. No, they get the script, they study it, they practice how they're going to do delivery, they find out what works for them, they live the role. And so we have to do that with ourselves too. So
Yeah.
like you said, whether it's dancing, whether it's exploring your body, I think
Yes.
it's wild that any person would expect anybody make them feel good if they can't make themselves feel good.
Yes. No, it's that's so true. It's so true. And I also think about this too, is for women, it's kind of difficult to see our own genitalia without a mirror, which I find it so fascinating that our partner knows what we look like way more than we do. And so even for women to get out a mirror, whether if you have a full length mirror, lay down in front of it or a hand mirror and just explore what your beautiful, beautiful body looks like and do it with love. That's the most important thing because so many women have so much shame about how they look. And I have seen lots and lots of vulvas, many, many vulvas, and they look all very different, all different shapes and sizes. Some are, have a lot more skin on one side than the other. They're not totally symmetrical. Did I say colors? All different colors. It's
Right.
just, yeah. And they're beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
I've not met one I haven't liked so far, but that's a beautiful point, and it's so true. Ladies, when a man tells you, I was like, I know you might think that they're like lying or they're trying to score, so they're saying this. Trust me, we care, but not that much. I was like, we love to be honest with you. When we say you're stunning, you're beautiful, I love this. No, I think that's actually really hot. We genuinely mean it. Otherwise, we would find some other random compliment, be like, yeah, I really like the way your hair looks when the lights are turned off. Like, we would just say something dumb like that, we if we really didn't mean it. But when we're genuine and descriptive about, like, "No, like, this is beautiful," or "I really like" when we give you the scenario, that's how you know, no, like, they were detailed, they meant what they said.
That's so true, and, there's just such a deep feeling too of how much we need each other. Like, I just find that in such a beautiful way because here we are in the society where it's like, "Oh, be strong, be independent," and it's just like, we actually really need each other. And, of course, I'm not a man, but this came to me just through thinking it through one time. I was just realizing, okay, so when a man is inside a woman, when she trusts him enough to really let her in and to invite him inside, it's almost like it's the ultimate invitation and the ultimate acceptance is like if she accepts him into her beautiful sacred cave or vagina, it essentially is saying, I want you close to me. I want you inside my body. I accept you. And it feels almost like saying, I accept all of you. Your power, your strengths, your flaws, your challenges. Like, I want all of you. And so even seeing that would be curious what you think of this, Josh, is I feel that men are wired to seek that shelter inside the woman. And so of course the man's gonna look at this beautiful vulva and be in awe of it, of or her.
That's so true. And I mean, I just thought about this. Actually, I've thought about it a lot, but this is the first time I'm saying it out loud. And this may sound weird, but I feel like absolute, genuine, pure intimacy leads to amazing chemistry and even better sex. And that great sex feels like quicksand. What I mean by that is if you're ever in quicksand or a mud pit, it just kind of like takes you under.
Mm,
And it's not a sudden action, it's something that takes time. When you are really connected to your partner and you feel seen, you feel the trust, you feel aligned, you could already be inside of them. But like I said, when you hit that connection, it feels like quicksand, like you're being sucked even further and like your whole body could just be inside them, even though that's physically impossible. Sometimes that's just what it feels like. It's the best
incredible.
feeling. It's the best.
That is so cool. Well, yeah, it feels from what you're saying, it feels to me like you're being invited in and almost
Mhm.
just like pulled in deeper and deeper. And yeah, I've actually never shared this, but I see it so clearly and feel it is even within the vagina or sacred cave, it's just like there's different chambers almost energetically. So I kind of think of, let's say, a castle. You can go to the outer gate of a castle and be outside the gate. Then you can be invited inside the gate, but you're still not like fully in the castle. Then you go to the front door of the castle. You're invited inside the foyer, the entryway, right? But you're still not really deep in the castle, not in the queen's chambers. And I really have experienced this even during sex where I'm just like, I can tell I'm not letting my partner in. I'm blocking. I mean, it can be physically inside me, but energetically, I'm whatever. I'm in my head. I'm blocking my own pleasure, or I'm a little bit upset with him. So I'm not fully I'm not fully like inviting him in.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's really fascinating. I just love how you said that because it's just like there's a lot of depth here and there's layers. It's not just the physical, it's the all the things, the
Right.
emotional,
Mhm.
spiritual, mental, energetic. Yeah.
Sandwich is more than just bread. It's true. A lot of this connection, invitation is contingent on desire. How
And
much a man desires to be with a woman, how much a woman desires for the man to be with her, in her, around her. And I wanna know, what does it look like when a woman stops feeling desired? Because that's a really big thing that
Yeah.
we may miss as a guy sometimes. We're so caught up in reaching the finish line that we didn't
Yeah.
realize that we are leaving our partners behind. Maybe
Yeah.
once, maybe time and time again, maybe every time the race starts. What does
Yeah.
that kind of look like?
Yeah. Well, one thing women tell me is they sometimes feel like their man wants sex but doesn't necessarily want them. It's not so strong as to say that they're just being used for sex, but it's more of just maybe he's wanting some stress relief or just got to do it kind of thing. I find this so fascinating. So I work with a lot of highly sexual women who want more sex than their partner typically. And they'll tell me that their man is not initiating as much as he used to, and there's just the desire gap, the mismatched libidos. But what's so painful to a woman about that is not just that he's not initiating, or even if he's initiating, what's so painful is not feeling wanted. When I ask them, okay, what's going on? They explain it. I feel rejected. I feel anxious about it. But I'm like, what's the deeper pain? They always say, I don't feel wanted. And so then I went into Claude and did a little Claude research of just like, why must a woman feel wanted? Why is this so important? And I was blown away. There were four things. It was like the oxytocin, the love hormone that gets released when we're even just cuddling, but especially through sex. That is a factor. Dopamine, the feel good neurotransmitter, it lowers cortisol when we feel wanted by our partner. And also there's mirror neurons. So when our man wants us, we feel more turned on because then our body mirrors that desire. It's so interesting. But even a woman will typically feel this like low grade feeling of threat. Like something is off. I feel anxious. I feel stressed. I don't know why. I can't relax when she doesn't feel wanted by her partner. To answer your question, how does it look? She feels anxious, maybe, she's like worrying about things, even maybe even nitpicking and being like, are you going to really do that? Or what time are you going to be home? Just that anxious trying to control things. That's a big one. Literally, you might think, oh my gosh, why is she being so hyper vigilant? Why is she controlling me? It might be because she's not feeling sexually wanted by you. Isn't that interesting?
It really is so intriguing, like just people are sometimes. I have no problem asking for whatever I want, and I'm a
Uh,
pretty literal person. So for me, I was like, if I'm ever not feeling seen or something just isn't satisfying, I talk about it. But a lot of people struggle with that, or sometimes they don't know what it is and they can't articulate it.
yes.
So for me, sometimes that feels out of body or otherworldly because I'm pretty in tune with myself. But what you said, you all know this. I hate to act like I'm not perfect, but I felt a little imperfect in that moment because I understood what you said, and I've been guilty of it a time or 3. And sometimes I do wanna just be invited into the I just need shelter from the rain. I don't
Yep.
need to go in and to the 2nd or 3rd later and set up shop, make myself at home.
Sure.
I feel like guys do that from time to time, like a quickie. I don't want a full nap. I mean, like, I'm not trying to go to sleep. I just need a quick little, like, power nap
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the car ride. But once again, that's just for my man brain. I don't think about the consequence of not only how does that make my partner feel that I just need to use her lady cave or
Oh, yeah, the sacred cave.
I'm just trying to use her sacred cave as a little bit of shelter. I need this, so I'm using her that. Not it's not even mine. I'm using somebody else's sacred cave, their belonging, their body for my own needs and not considering them. I didn't wipe my shoes off before I walked into somebody's house,
Mhm.
metaphorically. And I don't know why I've never thought about that in the, like, 16 years I've been doing this, but it made me feel a type of way to be like, "Oh, you know what? Now I kinda understand a little bit better why sometimes when I have made advances or I've wanted it and it might not have been received well, is
Mhm.
because their body knew, it kept score, and it felt like this isn't one of the times where he wants us or
Mm.
our body's
Interesting.
on fire. You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
totally. Yeah. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for sharing that. I love that. Just your self-realization in there. And then I was thinking too, it's like and everybody's so different. So some women can feel really turned on by the idea that their man needs them or even that their man is using them like in this beautiful way because
Right,
and so it's consensually of course
right,
but
of course.
yeah, and it could just depend on the moment too. But I do think about this too. It's just like for women, it's so different because we are inviting someone into our body. So talk about intimacy. It's the ultimate intimacy, right? That here I have this body and I'm literally saying to my partner, please come into my body and for a man, they're entering the woman's body. And I mean, it's very intimate both ways. It's just, it kind of just even thinking about that kind of explains why for a lot of women, things just kind of have to be right. Like they've got to be relaxed, or maybe they have to, if they want to shower first. Because I know I hear that too. Men being like, why can't she just be sweaty and messy and just like, let's just go for it?
No,
Why does she have to do her makeup?
I literally was out of town visiting one of my special friends, and we were talking about that. She was like, "No," she's like, "I've been gone all day, like, I need to shower before I even, like, think about doing it," and I was like, "Why? I'm just trying to enjoy your pheromones, like, I wanna breathe
Yeah.
you in, I wanna be present." She's like, "No."
She can relax.
Right, and I was like, I mean, I guess you need it to be comfortable, but sometimes lightning doesn't strike twice. It's one of those things because that's a real thing, like, the pheromones, the physicality of your body, it does play a part into it, and then when you wash those pheromones away, the attraction, the kindling that we were building
Huh?
kinda got blew away, so it's not there. So, I was like, now we're trying to make a new fire, but it might not catch.
Oh my gosh, that is so beautiful. It's so true because it was a special moment, like, right? It's like lightning striking and you're feeling something, then you interrupt it with a shower, and then now you've got to reconnect. I mean, still possible, but yeah, I see what you mean. It is so much about the feeling.
Because and I feel like sometimes you have all these couples who maybe have regular sex, but one person will still feel unseen, and it's because of moments like that is one person might have been feeling the spark or the fire was starting to burn and the other person had to go do something else, or
Yeah.
the moment kinda died off, and then now you just have a bunch of smoke. You're
Yeah.
coughing, your eyes burn, you gotta wash your hair because it's just smoky now, like, that's not fun for anybody, and
Yeah.
so it's funny to think that we think we might be doing something for us, but really, is it for us, you know?
Yeah. And you brought up such a good point too about feeling seen. And this whole concept of erotic abandonment that a lot of women experience in the bedroom and also men experience it too is really when you're just feeling unseen, maybe unmatched or unfulfilled. There's 8 different types, but like a really common one that comes up for women is when sex ends too soon. It ends too soon before she was fully satisfied, which can be very, very common because if it takes her longer to get warmed up, and then if the man is kind of rushing through it, he might be done and she is literally just getting going. And then, especially if he conks out for a nap, which is very typical for many people, then she's left alone with this raging sexual fire. She's all turned on and she doesn't know what to do with it. Should she like sneak off in the other room and self pleasure? Should she just self pleasure right next to him? Should she just try to like breathe through the discomfort and just let the fire calm? And there's so much to it, but it was taking years of I've had my own experiences of this, women have told me so many times, and for years I was trying to find words to describe how painful this is, and I'm still working with the words, but erotic abandonment as the overall concept, it makes sense, but that pain is so sad and painful, so what I usually say is, I say, "Keep going until the woman waves the white flag." And what I mean by that is, even if you finish and you're done, it's just like, well, maybe she's not quite done yet. So it's reading the energy, even asking her, "Would you like to keep going a little bit?" And then use toys, touch, or tongue to just keep the fire going until her fire feels like it's calm and complete.
No, that's so true, and that's when I tell fellas, I say this, sometimes you just gotta put the bib on because when it gets too hot down this for us, it's hard to back it off, or if you've already reached Everest, you can't go down the same side you went on, you have to go to the other side. So, you have to find other avenues. I'm gonna give away some of my tricks. If you've made it this far into the episode, you're welcome. I'm opening my pleasure chest, and I'll give you some of my tips and tricks. I love to start with makeout session, mutual masturbation.
Mm.
You can kinda control your blood flow, your urge. You don't get to 11 too soon, and
Yeah.
you get to kind of watch them. You're also if you're paying attention, you're clocked in, "Okay, we finish up." She still wants to go because you can feel it. You now know how she likes to be touched. You can now tease, touch, tongue her based on what she's kinda showed you in that moment, and it's not lovemaking, intimacy, sex is not a competition. If people bring toys, attachments, an Iron Man suit into the situation, don't feel like it's competition. It's just a
Yeah.
tool to help you out. Once again,
Yeah.
you don't try to hammer a nail with your fist. So you bring a hammer. It's the same thing. Bring a tool in there to help because at the end of the day, it's about connecting with your partner and making sure they feel fulfilled and seen.
Yeah. Yes, that's it. Fulfilled and seen. And connected, right? Like you said, the foreplay is about connection. It's like the whole experience. It's just the connection. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with taking a nap. There's nothing wrong with finishing before she does. It's all good. It's just the sense of really making sure that both partners are happy. I mean, some women are happy when their man is done and they're like honking out for a nap too.
And honestly, it's a big flex, but sometimes it happens in the inverse where she's done, but
Yeah.
you're not, and that's a great feel honestly, like, my male ego loves that feeling. It's because it makes me feel youthful, like, so full of vigor,
Yeah.
still have all this energy left. I mean, sure, we didn't get to but just seeing them, bliss, euphoria.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna shame you guys a little bit if you're doing this. This is just for the fellas listening. We don't pump and slump, okay? I hate when people do that because it's called life energy. It's not called sleep energy. So when you release that, you have such mental clarity. Your body's alive. Like everything is just tingling all over you. What I try to do whenever I finish, if we're not gonna have more intimate moments or do some aftercare, is I'll start writing an episode of the show. Like, I'll start thinking of different concepts that I wanna talk about. I was like, "Ooh, okay, I wanna do this, that, and the third," or, "Ooh, we can do this in our next mastermind class," or, "Hey, let's grab the guitar, let's grab the piano, let's write something." I'll do some journaling. And I
Wow.
was like, "You know what? I might cook her something because I worked up an appetite, so hopefully she did too." I wanna use that energy of, like, just being alive, that release, and being productive instead of just finishing and be like, I don't go to sleep right after a good meal. I like to enjoy it. I'll have a glass of wine, a cocktail, watch a show or something. It's the same way in that moment to me.
I love that. Oh my gosh. Yes, that's brilliant. And because it is a creative life force energy. And it's the same, I think of it this way, it's the same energy that we use to create a baby, a new life. So if it's powerful enough to create a whole life,
Mhm.
it's certainly powerful enough to create other things, right?
Right.
Like in a podcast episode or a great meal or whatever. And in my TEDx talk, I called them orgasmic ideas. The ideas that can come either right before orgasm, during orgasm, possibly, or after while we're basking in the afterglow. It's like it's this creative mecca that gets opened. And it's like if we pay attention, we become geniuses.
So it's so funny. It's crazy that it's almost been a year, but shout out to my brother, my friend, previous guest, Big Nick Energy. I didn't know this there was a statistic on it, but he told me. I don't know if you've ever heard of post nut clarity.
Yeah, yeah.
He's like, no, that's a real thing. So after men ejaculate or reach orgasm, or
Uh-huh.
even women when they reach orgasm, there is about I think it's like 180 seconds, 169, 180 seconds of actual like a mental boost where your neurons are firing faster, more intensely, and you do actually think better than you were before or like later on. So your brain literally is operating at a higher caliber than before, than ever when you're done. So why would you use that time to take a nap? You can't nap better in a sense, but you could be more productive. So I was like, why not use that energy for good?
Absolutely, it's so true. Well, right, and I think so many people don't know this stuff that they wouldn't even know, "Oh, I should be keeping my mind open to a creative idea," and you can even set an intention before you have sex of something that you want in your life. Like, I want a new business opportunity, or I want $10,000, whatever it is, set the intention before, and then in that post nut clarity, in those magical moments, the orgasmic ideas can come in to help you with your intention. So I just find it so fascinating. There's so much that can be done. I mean, that's just one example, but I feel like sex can be this playground for connecting, healing, intending, creating all kinds of things.
It's like a Mad Lib. You never know how it's going to turn out until it's over. You're saying a bunch of words, you're making some weird noises, you're doing a
Yeah.
game of Twister at some points. And then you're like, yeah, yeah, this makes perfect sense, or this makes no sense at all. And then you read the whole thing and you're like, huh, somehow it came together.
It's so true. That reminds me of what I said about tuning into the magic because it's like, and this is a rut so many couples get into is when they do their same routine every time. And Dr. Justin Lehmiller from the Kinsey Institute, he did the world's largest study of sexual fantasies. He interviewed or surveyed 4,300 people and found in the top 7 fantasies, 2 of the top 7 were related to novelty, seeking new experiences. So that was one of them, and the other one was passion and romance. And when we get into our routine, it's kind of like both of those go missing, right? We're just like it's so predictable, we're not having that new excitement, and then also typically in our routine, passion and romance can kind of go by the wayside. So it's just plan an adventure for each other. Take turns planning some kind of sexual adventure. It could be I'm gonna massage you today, and that's what we're gonna do different today. Or the next time it's, how about we go for a sexy dance under the stars and then make love? So, there's so many possibilities.
100%. And one thing that I found that's super helpful is there are these intimacy games now, like they're deck of cards or dice that really help with that. Because if you ever find yourself in a rut or you don't want to spam out the same plays, like we all have our go-to move or whatever that we do. You don't want to keep using that over and over again to desensitize yourself from it and to make it predictable for your partner. I love utilizing these as just another thing in the pleasure chest
Love that.
that comes out is it kind of gives you an activity or a position to try or some new thing that you haven't done and you didn't have to think about it. Like you didn't have to create it,
Uh,
it does it for you. And then it's random because you can shuffle the deck or there might be 52 cards in this deck. I don't know anybody who has done it 52 different times in one day. So I think you're good for at least like a week if you guys are really working to get through these, but like just draw one or two of those or find some type of activity where it mixes passion and spontaneity, you
yes.
know? And there's
Beautiful.
mystery because neither one of you know what's gonna come next. It's, like, out of your control, and there's something freeing and liberating about not being in control.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Yeah, that's so beautifully said. Yeah, and I feel like it's just such a dance because if a couple is really busy and let's say they don't have the mental bandwidth to be creative or even try a new thing, it's like, okay, well, if you're let's say for every 3 times that you have sex, one of those times do something new, be creative. Like the other 2 times just do your routine thing. It's all good. But it's just that sense of even introducing that little bit of spark of excitement is going to make such a difference.
I couldn't agree more, and I love that, and it's a realistic goal for people. Like you said, sometimes we overthink, both men and women. We overthink the situation and we try to curate this experience. And that goes back to what I said at the beginning of the show. This is real life. This isn't a telenovela. This isn't a romantic novel. I was like, this is your real life. So
Yeah.
it's not going to be cinematic every time, but
Yeah.
every time could still have a preview, have a highlight, you know?
Yeah. It's so true. Yep. And it's just like working with the moment. Like I mentioned earlier, sometimes I'm in my head and I just have to bring myself back. And I mean, this is what I live and breathe every day. And it's like my sexual experiences aren't perfect. I mean, I think there is no such thing as perfect on planet Earth anyway. But just saying, just like there's times where I'm just like, Courtney, come back, get in your body.
What? Yeah. Okay. So you're such an interesting person that there's so much that I thought about that we haven't gotten into yet. So I need you to buckle up because we're about to do the only thing I know how to do. That's not true. That was gonna be a bad statement. I was like, we're gonna do something that I enjoy doing. And Courtney, we're gonna have a quickie. Okay.
All right, Josh, let's do it.
Now, hopefully it's good for you because I know it's gonna be good for me. I don't want you to think too hard about these questions that I'm about to ask you, but I think it'll help us just cover a bunch of topics really quickly. Okay.
Awesome. Yeah.
So let's see. I think we might just run through like maybe like 4 or 5, and then I also like asking, is there anything that you've been dying to talk about that like an itch that nobody's just scratched for you yet?
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
because I was like, I feel like we have like 15, 20 minutes left, so I really wanna make sure it's
Awesome.
fulfilling for both of us, you know?
I love that. Aw, thank you.
I'm I'm not always a selfish lover, okay? I wanna make sure that you are taken care of. You know, sometimes I'm a bit much, but hey, that's why you're here. Okay, you ready?
Ready.
First question. What is one of the most attractive things that a partner could do for you?
Gosh, definitely just in general, confidence. Confidence and then also listening.
Eh, I feel like it's sometimes I don't wanna feel silly when I say things because I was like, it makes sense, but I wanna make sure when I say it. Listening is one of those things that I've been talking about all day. It's a tool, it's a necessity, it's a prerequisite to making your partner feel seen.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is when you listen, you're not just allowing them time to vent, you're also priming yourself for actual dialogue, effective
Mm,
communication because a lot of people just talk at each other. They're just like waiting their turn like it's tennis. But really, to me, conversation is more like volleyball. You want a good, nice long volley, you know, everybody keeps hitting it. It keeps the momentum going back and forth, back and forth. And all of a
yeah.
sudden, bow, somebody leans a great point and you're like, holy shit schmoly, I never thought about that, or like that was really cool. So
Yeah.
I like it.
Absolutely. Yep, and I learned this from one of my teachers in college, actually. He called it listening with ting, which means listening with our heart. And I love that so much because yeah, we can listen from our head and we can also think, what am I going to say next? But I feel the difference when my partner's like, listening from their body or their heart and actually caring about what I'm saying. Yep, and of course, a simple way to show that you're actually present is don't be on your phone while your partner's talking. Of course, that's just the basics, but also just kind of like be so present that you're not even thinking about anything else, other than what is being said. I mean, to me, that's so attractive.
Yeah. And this is a little ditty. Let me know if you disagree. Eye contact is a must for me.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they're like, why are you looking at me in my eyes? And I was like, I get so confused because
What?
I was like, well, that's kind of how you listen. Like, listening isn't just ear to ear, it's eye to ear sometimes. And when
Yeah.
I'm looking at you in your face as you're communicating, I'm getting all of your cues because your voice only does so much. So actually looking at the person while they're talking shows that no, I'm not just hearing and what you're saying, I'm processing it. I'm engaging into it.
Mhm.
It's really hard for me to look and listen to you and dissociate. I don't think I've
Yeah.
ever done that before.
Wow. Yeah. Brilliant point.
Yeah. Okay, what's one bit of overrated sex advice that it's kinda dried up, you know, it's like we beat it over the head.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny because the first thing that comes to mind is that the foreplay piece that is so funny. So bear with me as I say this because I feel like so many people know that women need more foreplay, right? And need more time. But I think just like what we talked about earlier, but the nuance is how can it be more fulfilling for both partners and create that tension and excitement and passion? Because it's not like foreplay shouldn't be a chore.
100% in ingredients. No, it's something weird. I was like, it's a prerequisite, but it's part of the game, and if you love the game, then you should love it.
Yeah, yeah, it's so true. I joke and say that a lot of couples treat sex like a football game. They skip the warm up drills, they rush to the goal line, score, then conk out for a victory nap. But
I was gonna be like, "That's how you get a Charlie horse." I was like, "You didn't stretch, you just hopped right in and started playing." Yeah, you're gonna get you're gonna pull a muscle, something's gonna go haywire, 100%.
yeah, football players know they must warm up before getting in that game.
True. This is a tough one, and you kinda touched on it earlier, we just didn't time to flesh it out. Could bad sex or frequent early finishes ruin a good relationship?
Oh my gosh, 100% yes. Absolutely, especially if there's not communication around it, which is the case many times that, a lot of times for women, we don't want to offend our partner. We don't want to deflate their ego. And also, it's a very typical pattern if for anyone, any gender. It's like if we feel criticized or like our partner's not happy, typically we feel bad, right? Because we care about our partner. And typically, if it's because of something we did, we feel shame, like bad about ourselves, and it's very uncomfortable. So, absolutely, it can ruin a good relationship because I see that sex is like the glue that keeps couples together. And there's even this whole research study about the afterglow effect that for up to 48 hours after sex, that couples feel more positive toward each other. They look at each other with more love and positivity. They feel closer and more sexually satisfied. That study was done by Florida State University. So it's like it's an actual thing that we need to renew that bond because of the oxytocin and the dopamine. And yeah, so I'd say with the communication, it's finding ways to communicate our needs in a joyful, positive way as often as possible. Like, for example, instead of, oh my gosh, I'm so unfulfilled because you always finish so quickly, like, that's not going to go over well. It's, you know what I'm craving? I'm really craving like a long lovemaking session. Like, what if we made love for 30 minutes? Or what if we whatever time, what if we made love for 2 hours? What would you think of that? So it's kind of a positive inviting your partner into what you actually do want. And see how it's so loving. There's no criticism in there.
No, I could not agree more. That's why I tell people, for me, there are 3 different types of sex, and that is there's fucking, there's sex, and there's making love.
I love it.
And they're all they're different intimate levels and durations.
Wow.
And so a lot of people nowadays, they get confused and they think they're making love or having sex when they're really just fucking. And fucking is that, like I said, that first layer of the sacred cave invitation, and it's just physical, and it usually lasts like 4 or 5 minutes. And he probably finishes, she probably doesn't. And then you have the actual sex, which is okay, I am considerate and I want to finish. I want you to finish. How can I fulfill your needs? And then my favorite, but something I don't reserve for everybody, is making love. And that is, I want our hearts to beat as one. That's that quicksand that I was talking about where I'm just being sucked, falling deeper and deeper into you until we feel like we're just unison. But I feel like I can't give that to everybody because that's like girlfriend slash wife material, you know? Because I get dinged for this all the time, and I was like, I probably am not everybody's A plus lover because I don't make love to everybody. Some people, they just get fucking and sex.
Yeah.
But making love, I feel like making love, that's you're bearing your soul. That's you're offering a whole lot of access right there. And
Yeah.
so you just gave that to everybody. You're in just for a world of hurt because some people just want level one access. They're just trying to get out of the rain, but you've invited them deep into your home, you know?
Yes, my gosh. So much hurt could be prevented if people really could feel those different levels, right? Exactly, especially if one partner's wanting that making love, but the other partner is just in the, "We're just going to level 1 right now."
That's why setting expectations are so that's why I love hookup culture in a sense because or and like we talked about this friends with benefits because in play parties because there are clear rules and boundaries. They're like, "Hey,
Yeah,
no kissing or no hair pulling, like no this, that, and the other thing, or here's what we can and can't do."
yeah,
Sometimes that black and white distinction helps you from catching feelings or and avoid being hurt or
yeah,
misled.
yeah.
Okay. What do women wish they could say out loud that lives silently in their heads?
Oh my gosh, definitely pay attention to me. Pay attention to me and also to gosh, different levels of that because it's like pay attention to me in terms of just listen, listen and care outside the bedroom. Inside the bedroom, pay attention to what her body needs, and what, like, even just being so present that you can almost sense what her body is craving, even beyond words, even though, of course, we're all responsible for using words to ask for what we want, of course. But when lovers are so in sync with each other, they can often sense, "Well, I think this might be it." And then do the thing and then look for feedback. Is her neck opening? Is her back arching? Is she opening or is she closing? That's a simple way to say it too. Is she opening or closing based on what you're doing? If she's closing and getting tense, that means she doesn't like it. Very simple.
Honestly, I don't think I've heard that before, but sometimes we need a visual to actually know what you're talking about, and you gave it to us. So if you guys are listening, we want them to be arching all day. Okay. We want them to feel like they need a chiropractor afterwards because they've been stuck there for so long. No, but that's a really beautiful thing that I'm glad you told because I'm gonna like think about that next time I'm with a partner or I'm in a play session. Is hopefully, like I said, they're arching, not punching, not closing off.
Yeah, yeah,
This is another reason what we do is difficult sometimes, or like I talked about earlier, there's this gap in relationships between partners, between the genders sometimes, is we use words like lover or partner sometimes when just being real, we are still in the hookup culture era where people are just having more, not even more, but they're just more public and frequent casual interaction. So they're like, this isn't my lover. This is just somebody I hooked up with. And like we talked about, there's this term boyfriend dick. Not everybody when they think that it's not a like a serious commitment type of thing, they don't give out like the boyfriend dick. They just give out sometimes the wham bam thank you ma'am. So when we talk about it to them or to a lot of people, like, well, yeah, like when I have an actual lover, when I have a girlfriend, when I have a wife, I'll do this, but I don't need to do this before. And I was
Mm.
like, you may not be in love with them, but this is still your lover. You
Yes,
know,
yes. Yeah, I just think we're all made of love. Just my philosophy. It's just like you can still bring love and care and presence, even if it's someone you've just met that day. Yeah.
and I was, like, asking this question, I don't know how we made it to the end of the episode, and I'm just now asking it to you. The name of our show is the Not So Bad Bachelor Pad. What is your current relationship status?
Am in a committed monogamish, well, the words are, gosh, labels are very difficult. I'm in a committed partnership with a man, yes, and I don't know if it's, you want us to call it monogamish or polyamorous mish.
Yeah. No, I get that, but sometimes I think I always like I love asking that question because sometimes it gives perspective on people's viewpoints. Some
Yeah,
people
yeah,
who've only ever practiced monogamy and they talk about the relationship have a completely different mindset, neural network, and experience than somebody who may be polyamorous or
yeah.
anywhere in between.
It's so
So I just love
true.
asking that question.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've definitely experienced because full on polyamory, ethical non-monogamy in my, yeah, I'd say in the last decade. I feel like I'm polyamorous in my heart. times when I'm practicing that and times when I'm not, and I'm just only focused on my partner, and I like that. I like going with the flow of what feels good at the moment.
That's all we can do.
Yeah.
Okay, last question. What's one step for somebody who's realizing that they've been erotically abandoned or that they
Mm.
might be erotically abandoning their partner to kind of get back on track?
Mm. Yeah, gosh. Well, the one thing that's really important is to clear the hurt and resentment that may have come from as a result of this. So I call it a heart wall. When we feel distant from our partner, we can put up this wall around our heart. And that wall is usually made of the old hurts and disappointments and resentment. So talking it through can be really helpful. And I guide my clients and couples through a four-step process of, where you essentially you talk about what happened, you validate each other, you empathize with each other, and so that's a whole, piece is talking it through, but also coming back into connection is so important, and just finding out what does your lover or partner or the person you've hooked up with, like, what do they actually want from you? Or what makes their body tick? What's their treasure map? So just finding out more information too. Yep.
Super cool. I think today has been a whirlwind of an episode. Not in the fact that it was chaotic, out of control, we didn't know up from down, but the fact that we covered so much ground and things just kind of came together so organically and beautifully. It's literally a beautiful disaster in a sense. Before we wrap things up, I would love for people to not only know what's coming next for because like I said, summer's just right around the corner. What does the rest of 2026 look like for you? Where can they find you if they want to connect, if they have questions or they're just not sure if they've entered into this erotic abandonment section?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my social media handle is Courtney Faye Long, and Faye is Fae and Long Long. So Courtney Faye Long, and I'm on Instagram and TikTok and all most of the places. And also, you can go to my website courtneyfaylong.com, and on there there's a quiz about the orgasm shortage. So you can take the quiz and find out if you've been affected, if you're experiencing erotic abandonment. And then I also have a complimentary sex life makeover session where I literally meet with people 60 minutes on Zoom, and we deep dive into what is missing from your sex life. What do you really want? And we create a bridge to get there. And they're just so profound and deep. And sometimes people come to these calls because they think they might want to work with me. Sometimes people come because they want clarity and they run with it. And so it's free. It's complimentary. So you can schedule that if you're interested. And then I also, something that's coming up in the summer is once a month, I host a highly sexual women's circle. It's free. And we talk about these topics. Like our next one is going to be 12 reasons your man is not initiating as much as he used to. So that's a deep one. Sometimes we talk about erotic abandonment. So those are great too. And the cool thing too is part class, but also part sisterhood, to learn from other highly sexual women and just to feel really seen and understood.
That's amazing. I always love community, and I am glad that there are a lot of spaces that you're creating and other people are creating for women to put a name to what they're feeling and learn how to get their voice back about asking for what they want, asking for what they want,
Yeah.
and reigniting that passion desire for love.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you so much for making it to the end of another episode of the Not So Bad Bachelor Pad. I will see all you amazing bachelors, bachelorettes, and partner people who've been tuning in next week for an all new episode. Until then, remember, be present, connect, don't erotically abandon your partner, and keep having those sexy as hell makeout sessions all summer long.